Okay, it's going to be a pretty quick share today. I got to go to work. Okay, we're up to the two dots on your Dalet Amud Aleph. The two dots on your Dalet Amud Aleph. Okay, Tani Chada. In one, I wanted to make a chart. You could see, you probably can't even see this. You know what? Okay. Gosh, this is so crazy. I wish I knew what I was doing here. I really wish I knew what I was doing here. Okay, you can see this, right? You can see this or not?
Yes.
Okay, so let's go inside. Tani Chada, Ubaris Menikas of pregnant women, nursing women, Miss Anas Barishanis. Again, let's go and designate 3, 3, and 7. There are the first 3 fastings, the middle 3 fastings, and the last 7. So now, Rishonos, they fast, Miss Anas Barishanis, they fast by the first, they Miss Anas Bacheros, and they fast by the last. V'tanya Idach, Miss Anas Bachroinos, they fast by the what? They fast by the last, and the emisanis Rishonis, but they don't fast by the first. And Tanya Idach, a third one, emisan and labor Rishon of labor Achreina, they fast by neither one. That's what it says. They fast by neither one. Ravashi Nakiram Siyasa Biyadcha the Mitzar Sakula. Take the middle one because that answers up everything. Okay, guys, let's look at it. Look at the chart. So watch. The first one said you fast, last one not. First one not, last one yes. Neither one. So if you take the middle one, everything works out, right? If you take the middle one, everything works out. How does that work out? When it says you're fasting by the Rishon, it doesn't mean the first 3. It means the middle 3. So therefore, you're fasting by the middle 3 and not by the last one. So that's what it means over here. That when it says no, it means this. No means you would fast no by the first, and no by the middle. So if this is first, this is the middle. So once I'm missing something here. No, that's it. So now, if you have this chart, if this is speaking the first and the middle, so when this says over here, you fasting, it's speaking this, and no is after this. So when it says Rishonos really means what? It means the middle. So I fast by the middle. I fast by the middle, no fast by the 7. So that fits in over here and over here. Rishonos, Rishon means Rishon does not mean the first 3. It means the last. So the last set would be I fast. I have no idea what I'm talking about. I thought I understood this. Let's see Rashi, and we'll try to fit this on the chart. Nokib b'mitziyasa b'yatza kloimar tiritz the b'shloishem tzoyis hoyu misanin. The first 3 they would fast. Umiteretzes the kulei. Hanach masnaisa diktani b'rishoina v'lei b'achrenis. You fast by the first. Hanach rishonis lab rishonis mamish ninu elam tzoyis. It means the middle ones. Then you would go ahead. The inu havi rishonis lachreinos. But the last one not. So you would, this middle one works over here. You would not fast you would fast. The key in the Shevan in the loy matzi they can't make it. The one that said in the you fast in the last and not the first. That means this. No in the first. Okay, I'm not making sense. I'm not making sense. This middle one seems to work out. That I can go ahead and the following. Watch. This no would be the first. This no would be the middle, and no, it doesn't work out. I don't know. Very shyness, very shyness in the first. You are is not speaking the first. It's speaking the middle one. So the middle one I wouldn't fast. The middle one I would fast. I would fast in the middle one. I won't fast in the number 7 one, right? So the middle, it works out. This I'm fasting, and this I'm not fasting. So I'm just switching this no fast. Okay. So there's a time where I don't fast and I do fast. And the bottom one, with no fasting at all, we're speaking that this is the first one. And I won't fast in the first, but I would fast in the middle. I won't fast in the first, but I would fast in the middle. I don't fast in the first because you don't think it's so necessary. But when I see it's very necessary, I'll fit over here. So that's the way. That's the way the chart works. No in the first, but I would fast in the second. Right? This works. In other words, I can make this work, and this one works over here. That it's speaking. This is the middle one. I would fast in the middle one, and the achroinos means the middle. Achroinos means the middle, and the no is in the end. I would go over here. So that's the way it would work. Okay, that's the way it works. A little confusing. Says that so Ravashi knocking siyasa biyatcha mistats in the cooler. That would work. The last 7, they would go ahead and they would they would in the last 7 they would blow a shofar and they would close the stores as opposed to the first 6. Now, b'may masriyan, why would they? I touched the blowing a shofar. Maybe it means shouting. Rabbi Yehuda Amar b'shayfos. They would blow a shofar. Rabbi Yehuda b'reidi v'shmuel bar shilas mishmei de Rav Amar be'anenu. They would scream out anenu. Now, this is not the tefillah anenu, guys. This is not the tefillah anenu. This is anenu. This is like we say by the slichus, right? Anenu avinu anenu okay avinu anenu okay yitzchak anenu anenu okay Yaakov anenu anenu. In other words, this is not the tefillah of anenu fasting. It's anenu calling out to Hashem. That it's exclusive. The one that said anenu, only anenu, not shayfus. Mandiyama b'shayfus leima b'anenu. I have a Tanya in Paiskim b'sheva Taniyos al Tziba shebehen Yudches Hasrois. The similar dove in Yerichai. Yerichai shayfus have. Look at Taisvis. Ubehen Yudchem al Truos the simin dove Yerichai. Pirish Shteb Yerichai also came in Yerichai. This is what they did. Now every blowing is 3. Tkiya, trua, tkiya. Shekifu zayin yanim, and they did it for 7 days. So the 7 days are symbolic of the 7 fasts. Vayitoikim b'chol yoyim, and they blew every single day. K'moy kain tekini b'taniyos. We're going to blow on the taniyos of the 7 days. Ub'chol taniyos mosifin sheish brachas. On every taniyos, you'd have 6. You have another brachas. You have a total of 24. So 6 times 3 is 18. I'll call bracha toikin mariyim v'toikin imkain hainu yudches truas. So therefore, all this is mashma. It's speaking about the shayfos and not speaking about what anenu. The similar davar Yericha shayfos. The tiyufta l'man dam anenu. It's the tiyufta l'man that says that it scream out masri and they scream out anenu. Right? Ella b'shayfos the kul yamalei pligi says the Gemara by shayfos. Everyone says the b'shayfos. The question is, do you, in addition to going ahead and saying the shayfa, you would say anenu according to the Ritva, right? The kuli amalei pligi, the kori le'asra, ki pligi manenu, masav kori le'asra, anenu is called asra, masav le kori le'asra. The mandem manenu kol shkein b'shayfos. The mandem b'shayfos al manenu loy. It's not called. So in other words, when it says b'masriyan, is the lashon of everyone is moided that shayfa goes on masriyan. The question is whether anenu goes on masriyan also. But Tanya, how can you say that what that it means only shayfa? V'shad kol minei pronius, any other pronius. Any other retribution, punishment, the Klal Yisrael, it's not famine. Hamasrakshas kigoyin chichuch, that's some type of disease of scratching, chagav, locusts, zavuv, flies, cirrus, stinging insects. tushin going up your nose and your eyes, mosquitoes, v'shiluach, the chashrim, akravim, snakes, the scorpions, loyhoyim asriyin, elet sayakin. Now they would, they didn't blow, masri didn't blow, but they would call out. Calling out it must mean hasra is b'shayfreis. It must mean that hasra is with the shayfreis. So it's Kashan the Maniyam who said, wow, that hasra is anenu. Says more Tanoia, it's Machlokes Tanoim. The Tanya, Al Elu Masriyan b'Shabbos, on this on Masriyan they call out on Shabbos, right? Al Ir Sheikufa get Gaius, surrounded by an army, a Nahar, a river overflowing, Vasfina B'Teres Bayam, or you're in a state of distress in the sea. You can call for help, but not to call out. Why are we calling out with Elam b'Shayfer, Shayfer b'Shabbos Mishari? They didn't blow a shayf on Shabbos. Elalah b'Anenu, it must be B'Anenu b'Karilei Hasra. Shmami know that we have a raya that there's a Tana who says that Masriyan means Anenu, that means calling out. B'Shani Rabbi Yehuda Nasi, and he is Rabbi Yehuda Nasi again. That was the grandson of Rabbi Yehuda Nasi. Don't mix up. Rabbi Yehuda Nasi had a son of Gamliel, and he had a son of Rabbi Yehuda Nasi. But B'Shani Rabbi Yehuda Nasi have Tzara. There was a Tsar, and Gazet Fas Esrei Taniyos. They were guys of 13 Taniyos, and this Tsar was not a lack of rain. They weren't answered. They wanted to make another additional, more than the 13. They wanted to make more additional tinus. Samle Ravami Hari Amud says, we're not matriach the tziba more than usual. We're not matriach, and therefore, once we get to 13, that's it. 3, 3, and 7, that's it. You're not going to fast anymore on Monday, Thursday, Monday. Rav Amma, Braid Rav Chia Barabba, said Rav Amma, the son of Rav Chia Barabba, Rav Ami, who said that you don't fast beyond 13, the Ovel Legami who did, but he did it for himself. In other words, he didn't want to fast. Al-Hachi Am Rav Chia Barabba, Am Rav Yochanan, and then Rav Yochanan, Loishanu, that you limit to 13, 3, 3, 7, Elul Geshamim. And then you would stop, and then you close down the stores, and then you would go ahead and not preach Shalom. Ella L'Shamini Pronius. But other mini Pronius Mas'anim, other Pronius that we just mentioned, Chag of all these things, then Mas'anim, you would continue to fast for Holchin at Shiyanum and Hashemayim until you answered. So L'Chaira, Rev Ami, L'Chaira is slugged up. Tanya Nami Hachi, we have a brisa that's a raya that the halachas of fasting are limited to Geshamim, but the 13 limited Geshamim. But beyond that, we would say more. Kishamu Shalish, Kishamu Shevel, Yamru El Geshamim. That's 13. Aval Shamini Pronius, the ones we mentioned before, Misanin Vaholchin Achiyanu. You go ahead and continue to fast until you're answered. Let's say this Tanoic statement of the Brisa, which is a Tanoim, is an upshlag on the Amoyer of Ami, who says you would stop at 13 for every mini Pronius. It's a Machlokes Tanoim, and I have a Tana to support me. As long as I have a Tana to support me, I can have a disagreement with the Brisa. Tanya. You're not guys more than 13 times on the tzibur. That's the shita that Rav Ami was saimech on. Says Rebbe, it doesn't mention anything about rain. It doesn't mention anything about shar. It's mashma chlal, any peronius, whether it's a lack of rain or some other catastrophe. You would only limit the kindness to 13, which would be the shita of Rav Ami. However, that's not true. The reason why you limit it to 13 is because since in Cheshvan, that's the time of Yaira, and it didn't come down in Cheshvan, so you limit it. Any other pronius, you would not limit, and that's the opinion that Rav Chia Barabba went ahead and disagreed with Rav Hani. Bnei Ninveh, they didn't have any rain. They didn't have rain any time. It was a very tough place with rain. So they sent the following question, and this is going to get into the Shiloh we mentioned about Australia and Brazil, places in the world where the seasons are different. Us, that even in the season of Tammuz, the summer season, we need rain. When should we mention it? We should mention like the individuals, the meaning Hechinavid ki yechidid daminon. Are we going to compare to yechidim like kirabim daminon? Are we going to compare to rabim? Be yechidim daminon ki yechidim daminon. We shmei tefillah. We'd say it in shmei tefillah, the tefillah banenu like kirabim daminon. The same telamata ubrichas hashanim. In other words, you would say not anenu. You would say the same talamata, not anenu. I made a mistake. the same Halamata, do you say it in Shemaya Tefillah just when you get to the bracha, the same Halamata of bracha? Or no, do you hear that bracha between Re'eh and Rafeinu? So it's the summer. The Nusach Tefillah certainly is not to say the same Halamata of bracha in the summer, but we need
Rabbi, Rabbi, in Eretz Yisrael, when we say the same bracha here, they say the same Halamata earlier. They say you're supposed to say, when I was there now, they said say it in Shemaya Tefillah.
Yeah, it might have been a share that you missed. And you might have missed it. I'm not sure. It might have been a day that you weren't here. That we might, maybe hypothetically, that if you would ever miss a share, that we discussed.
You're saying hypothetically.
Of course. That
hypothetically,
we said that in Eretz Yisrael we had a machloikus whether you start saying it on Gimel or Zion. We paskin like Rabbi Gamliel. You start saying on Zion. That's in Eretz Yisrael. But we go ahead and we start 60 days after the Kufa, which is October 7th. So you probably. I mean, maybe you were helping your child that night and it was difficult for you to come. So maybe that's.
I'm sure he could this year. He was talking about saying it in Shemaya Tefillah. That's what he pointed out.
Yeah, Shemaya Tefillah and Eretz Yisrael. When we were just there now, they started saying the same Halamata already. We still say the same bracha. So they said that by you're supposed to say it by Shemaya Tefillah. That was my question. Thank you, Dov.
Dov, you ruined me. I was
Dov,
maximizing.
Dov, I get the full. Dov, I get the full hour of the lawyering.
I was maximizing his uncomfortability, and you ruined it.
Thank you, Dov.
Okay. Anyway. So yeah, you would say this is the source. You're diving like a yochid in Eretz Yisrael. You're not diving with the tzibur. Okay. So now. So we want to know in a place that needs it all the time, how much do you do? So Sholchale, they went ahead and they sent to Bnei Ninveh ki yechidim demisu u'shemei tefillah. You should go ahead and you're like yechidim, and you should say the same Talamata in Shemei tefillah. Meisvei Rabbi Yehuda Amosai. When is this? Bisman shehashanim kitiknan. That's when what? It's the years of what? It's that you're planting in Cheshvan and you're harvesting in Nisan. Yisrael shurin al masan, and Yisrael everything is kupasetic. Everything goes according to the year. So therefore, azman. So l'chayra, everything goes according to shanim and zman and years and mekaymis. So l'chayra, you should say the same talamata in the places of the world that are. It's the Australia, and in the summer you should be saying what. The same Talamata in the bracha of Re'eh, not in Shemaya Tefillah. So I'm like Masnisan Ramasallah, yes, Steve on Rabbi. Rabbi Tanu Polik, Rabbi is a Tana. He doesn't have to go ahead and quake in front of a Mishnah. He could disagree. So my Harilo, what's the bottom line? Rav Nachman Rama, Birchas Hashanim. Rav Nachman said they would say it in the Birchas Hashanim as we do during our season. Rav Sheshes Lama b'Shemaya Tefillah. The Hilchasa and the Lacher is b'Shemaya Tefillah. You say about in Shemaya Tefillah. B'Sheni, we said in the Mishnah on these 7 Tanisim, on when it was Monday, we would go ahead and keep the stores closed. However, towards evening, we go ahead and keep them a little bit open in order that people could buy food to end the Tainus. And on Thursday, for Kavod Shabbos, they would what? That's the Shaila. Would they matin, keep it partially open, or would they poseach, keep it totally open? Because the Mishnah doesn't say. The Mishnah just, the Mishnah could be either way. So we know on Monday it's partially open. We know on Thursday it's open the whole day. The question is it mamish open or is it mata partially open like Monday? Says the Gemara. Iboilahu, heichi katani, bebeis matin im chashecha ubehei kalayoyim mithikar Shabbos, but not fully open. But matin would be like partially open. Idilma b'sheni matin b'chamishi poischin kalayim kula, it would be fully open. Tashma detanya b'sheni matin ad erev ub'chamishin. It says openly in the brisa poischin kalayim kula. You'd open it up and they cover the Shabbos to buy food for Shabbos. Let's say if you had 2 doors, don't open both of them. Keep it a little closed. Only open one. If you have like a chair, some type of bench in front of the store, the Keneged Pischei, Paseach, Kedarko, even on a Monday, you can open normally because the bench would partially obscure it, and therefore it would be considered like matin, right? And you're not worried that what people would even on the second day. We said the 7 days passed by and they're not answered. So the 7 Tanisim passed by and you're not answered. So what would you do? You would go ahead and curtail business, ube binyan, and curtail building, ube tinati, and curtail planting. So let's go ahead and fill in the blanks. Tana, the binyan does not mean any construction. It means the binyan of simcha. In other words, we want to go ahead. These are very, 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 very somber days. After all, it hasn't rained in such a long period of time. Without rain, we won't have crops. So when it says binyan, it doesn't mean any building. People need construction to live. But binyan of simcha is such as making a house for your chassan. Again, they used to make these little houses for the chassan to live in. That they didn't do. Netiyah is netiyah shel simcha. Ezel binyan shel simcha is a boina bayis chasnus. And lebnoi, ezel netiyah shel simcha is zeh hanayteya, someone who plants avankari shel malachim. Let's see, very fascinating Rashi, guys. Here, the first wide line. Avankari shel malachim. Shekacha yinoyig. This is the minig. Kishenoyled ben lemelech. When a ben was born to the king, hayinoitin ilan l'shmai. They would go ahead and plant it when he was a baby. They plant this tree. For yom shemam lichin isai. And the day that he was coronated, isla kisei mimenu. They make a throne from this wood. Very fascinating. Lishnachrina ilan gadol, a big tree. Hamesach al aretz. That it covers the aretz. The tayel melech tachtav. And that the melech could go underneath it to be protected from the sun. That's the more pashut pshat, the esoteric pshat, but little is they would go ahead and this is the king's vimple. But Benji, where's Benji? It's the king's vimple. You know the vimple. This is the king's vimple. They would go when he was born. They would make it. Ubeshela shalom, and you would go ahead and not greet people. Tanrabanan chaverim ain't shela shalom beinayim. If you're a chaver, you know halacha. Then they would not greet each other, just as we don't do it on Tisha B'Av. So they won't do it after the 7th Hanesim. Amei Oretz, however, Amaratzim Sheshoilin, who go ahead and greet you, Machzirin Lehem, you would go ahead and answer them because of Ava. You would tell them that the Amoritz, not knowing the halacha, might think that you have something against him. So to avoid this problem, you would answer him. However, the Safa Rafa in a soft-spoken voice will be covered roish when your head bent down. The hein misatfin, they would back themselves up, the yoshvin kavelim, and they would sit like avelim, ukumnodim, and people who are excommunicated. When the other and the zufim lamakim, like the people who are on the zufim in front of Hakadosh Baruch Hu, achi rachman v'shamayim, and they would continue doing this until finally Hakadosh Baruch Hu would go ahead and have rachmanis and bring rain. Amr Eliezer, ein adam chashiv v'shoylipol al panav. A person who's chashiv and is davening with sibur should not go ahead and fall down on the ground, making a spectacle of himself davening. Why? Elam Kain, Nena ki Yeshua binun. Only if he's sure that he's going to be answered like Yeshua binun. Because if he's not answered, it's going to cause a chilul to him. Or worse, that this guy thinks so much of himself. So he should not, if no one else is falling down, he's the only one falling down, and it's going to be noticed by everyone, you should not go ahead right and do this. Shenemar, Vayom Hashem Yeshua kum lech, Lamazel Atanofel, get up, why are you falling on your face? Only if he's not done sackcloth. Only if he's going to be answered like Yehoram ben Achav. It was terrible famine was going on. One woman ate her child, and with another woman, and the next day they wanted to bring the other child, and the other woman didn't want to bring the child, and they came to Yehoram, was a Russia, and he heard the story of Yehoram. When he heard the words of this woman Nebuch that they ate their kids, or wanted to eat the next one by Yikris, but God, he ripped his clothing through over al and passed by the wall by Yara being a sack al bisor. They saw the king and there was sack on his basa. So if you know you're going to be.
Didn't we find Chanina ben Dosa? Didn't he, do it?
Not Barabin. But lo yakol b'kriya, but lo yakol b'nefila. Not everyone is answered by kriya, by ripping clothing, and not everyone's answered by falling on their face. Moshe v'Aaron ben Nefila, Yeshua v'Kali b'kriya. Moshe v'Aaron ben Nefila, the Chsiv, when they heard about the Meraglim, v'yipol Moshe v'Aaron al Pneiim, they fell. Yeshua v'Kali b'kriya, the Chsiv v'Yeshua minun v'Kali ben Yifuna, Koru b'Gdeim, they ripped their clothing. So by the same Maisa of the Meraglim, Moshe's derech of communicating with Hashem was what? With falling on his face, and Yeshua and Kali was ripping their clothing. Maskar Bzeir, Vitem of Yeshua ben Nachmeni, Ihavi Ksiv Yeshua without the Vav, Kiddush Armit, then I would say it's two separate things. Moshe Aaron ben Nefila and Yeshua v'Kali b'Kriya. But Hashd said the Yeshua, Havahad of it. Ken Zayin that Yeshua did both. Not only did he do Kriya, but he also davened. So or vice. From Rebbe Lazar, not everyone is standing, and not everyone by bowing down. Malachim Bekima, this is Lasad Lavai. We're going to see Malachim by standing, the Sarim B'Shtachavia and Sarim would bow down. Malachim Bekima, the Chsiv Koyab Hashem, Goy Yisrael, Amid Aleph, Kedushai, Levazah Nefesh, Lemitav, Goy La'ovid, Meishlim, Malachim, Yiru V'Kamu. It says that the Malachim they would see and they would get up. The Sarim B'Shtachavia, they would go ahead and bow down. The Chsiv Sarim B'Shtachavu. So L'chayra that I think it's bigger is Rashi says Lo Yakol B'Kima Likras Yisrael La'asad Lavai Malachim Yiru V'Kamu Sarim B'Shtachavu. Doesn't say which is bigger, but I guess the Malachim got up and they bowed down. Maskal Rabbi Zera, Rabbi Tamer, Rabbi Shmuel Ben Achmeni, Yavik Siv the Sarim B'Shtachavu could garment. If we would just say this Sarim, but Hashd Siv Sarim B'Shtachavu, it says Sarim and they bowed down. Hava, they did both. They stood up and they bowed down. It says that Rashi learns that Simcha is bigger than Or. Rashi says Yisharim l'Simcha, Yisharim adifim et tzadikim. Yisharim are higher madreg than tzadikim. So if Yisharim are higher than tzadikim, then Or is less than Simcha. Tzadikim lo'ir Yisharim l'Simcha, tzadikim lo'ir d'chsiv. Ozru la tzadik u'liyishleiv Simcha d'chsiv u'liyishleiv Simcha. Right. Hajj lechem emesai, Hajj lechem emesai, Hajj lechem emesai. I wish everyone a very good Shabbos. We'll see you Mitzvah Shabbos.
Have a safe trip.
Rabbi.
Have a safe Shabbos, everybody.